Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be explaining everything I know about ASA, Slingshot, and Boost Jump. This is often regarded as a difficult set of tricks, and it is at top level, but with some knowledge and easier variations, I actually think these tricks are quite easy and approachable as a beginner. Let's start with Boost Jump. First I'll go over how to do one, and then we'll talk about the structure of a Boost Jump. I think this can be helpful in simplifying the inputs into groups and figuring out what you can get away with, as well as making it easier to troubleshoot what went wrong. Now to do a boost jump, you need to get a ledge grab somewhere. Then press X and hit square before you hit the ground. Quickly after your square input, pause the game. Now you hit the X button 4 times. The first 3 are quick and the last one is delayed a little in this sort of rhythm. Dut 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 dut. Like that. After the first X, you can start holding forward. So here it is again in slow motion. Okay, X square, pause, X, 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 X. Now we'll talk about the structure of a boost jump. So this is a super jump. You can perform one by pressing square before you land and pressing jump before Sly's cane swing animation ends. If successful, you won't see a dust cloud beneath Sly's feet when he lands. Notice that in some of these examples, I wait for Sly's animation to almost end. Let's see if I can find one. Yeah, there we go. I wait for Sly's animation to almost end before pressing X. This is how much time you have to super jump. The main function of this isn't really relevant right now, but it'll be explained later during the Slingshot segment. If you super jump out of a ledge grab, you'll notice this weird behavior. Sly does a weird animation and he keeps going forward. Of course, we can also double jump after our super jump. At this point, you might notice that this looks really close to a boost jump. And that's because this is basically a boost jump, just without the pause. In fact, if you can mash X fast enough, you can actually do a boost jump without the pause and it would look almost exactly like this. It turns out that the weird ledge grab state that we carry onto the platform through super jumping actually lets us sneak in an extra jump input before the game thinks we're in the air. By pausing the game, the timing for this extra input is made much more lenient, since the game is in slow motion for a little bit after unpausing. Now, if that was too much information for you, just remember that a boost jump is basically a super jump. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm in High Class Heist and not in ASA, it's because this platform here is a great place to practice. Guess 514, the current world record holder, showed me this spot and it's awesome. You can't double jump cleanly onto this wall unless you're pushed right up against it, so it makes it really easy to see when a boost jump has succeeded. Let's take a look at an example of a failed boost jump. Why did this fail? If you only knew how to do a boost jump, this wouldn't make any sense. All the inputs are correct, but it failed anyway. With the knowledge that a boost jump is just a hyper super jump, it's quite easy to see the reason. Sly isn't close enough to the ground to super jump when we paused. Look how far away his feet are from the ground. Sorry for the pause menu in the way, I didn't think about that when I was recording this. A good rule of thumb that I use to see if a boost jump is likely to work is whether it looks like his feet are touching the ground. That'll guarantee that you'll at least get a chance at the extra jump input. So here, his feet look pretty close to the ground, right? Maybe this one is slightly in the ground, and we'll see that this attempt does succeed. So this example here shows that we have a lot of time to pause the game. As long as we can still super jump, the boost jump will still work. We can see how close his animation is to ending, but since we can still super jump here, this will still work. Now this is me pressing square and pause pretty early. You can see his cannon animation, his swinging animation is barely even started. But as you can see, the feet were close enough, so we're good. Also, if you hit save and quit by accident from pushing forward too soon, just press triangle and it'll take you back to the pause menu. If you press no, it'll quit out of the pause menu entirely, so don't do that. Now here everything looks good. Feet are close enough, right? We can see the feet are close enough, everything's fine. But it fails anyway. And the reason for that is because I mashed X after the pause. So the number of times you press X and the specific rhythm I mentioned are very important. The first X unpauses the game, the second X is the super jump, the third X is the extra jump, and the fourth X is what normally would be the double jump. X must be pressed exactly 4 times or this trick will not work. Additionally, the pause between the third and fourth X's plays a huge role in how high you go. Here I show different double jump timings, and we can see that this, like, like that's the highest you can go. That's what gets us the highest double jump. So I'd recommend just double jumping in place like this so that you can feel out the timing yourself. It's very helpful for basically every trick in the game. Every double jump is pretty helpful. Right. Let's actually talk about ASA now. So after Sign Proxy, you'll end up on this rock. Just jump down and climb this rope. I'm doing cane jumps here, but it doesn't matter for a beginner whether you do it or not. Break the alarm, and then kill the guard. And now you want to get a ledge grab on the statue. So you see the statue is shaped like an octagon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? And we want this edge specifically because it's closest to the lighthouse. When you jump onto the statue like so, you want to swing late and pause very early. Because the statue is breakable, we need to pause the game before the cane has a chance to break it. If you swing too early, by the time Sly's feet are close enough to the statue, the game won't fully pause before the statue breaks. So what I would recommend doing is hovering your left thumb over start so that you can pause super quickly after pressing square with your right thumb. We can do this because Sly automatically goes forward when jumping out of a ledge grab. We don't need to touch the stick at all. After you pause, you can adjust the camera so that it's facing towards this block of wood on the lighthouse. This is where you want to aim your boost jump. If successful, you'll ledge grab on the lighthouse and make it out of bounds. Now just follow my movement up here to this rock. Set your grounded position, which is where the game thinks Sly is, against this invisible ridge right here. You want to be right up against it, so I just tap on the D-pad a few times to make sure I'm in position. Turn the camera and jump onto the rocks below. Start super jumping all the way over to the periscope over here. I didn't explain this earlier, but super jumping doesn't update our grounded position, so the game thinks we're still on that rock up there. Always double jump onto this rock, since it's really easy to not go far enough and slip off. If you land around like anywhere like here, you will probably slip off and it'll be really hard to continue your super jump. So just don't take the risk and double jump there. Jump over the fence and get a ledge grab on the periscope. Getting onto the periscope takes a bit of practice, but as long as you're somewhat close to it, you should be able to make it with a single jump. When I jump towards the periscope, I don't try and back it up by continuing to do super jump inputs, since that can break the periscope. It's really pretty lenient, and you can just practice this by jumping back and forth onto it. I turn around. I like to put the left edge of the camera between this like bright prong and this one. So just we're kind of right around here. It's pretty lenient though, and what angle Sly is facing when you turn around also influences where the camera is going to be. It doesn't really matter that much really, but I just like to have a consistent place to put my camera. Then do a double jump while holding X during the first jump towards right here, which I kind of call center left because it's center left. Yeah, anyway, you have to hold X, and once you get the launch, you should be able to just hold left and weave through these rocks. Once you get to the water wheels, I like to do a super jump off of this one to get to the key. Swinging your cane will stop Sly's momentum and prevent you from shooting off into the water. But don't look at this because you're not supposed to let go. Now, if Sly hits the rock and goes straight up like this, then that's a momentum preservation issue. It means you didn't hold X long enough during your first jump. Doing so preserves Sly's forward momentum so that we can keep going forwards past our starting point. The camera is also a big factor in this trick, though it's not really for this setup. If the camera gets stuck on something, the thing we're supposed to bounce off of won't load fast enough, and Sly will kind of just shuffle off the rock and die. It takes some pretty insane camera angles to get this, though. I mean, look at this. This is... Nobody's going to jump in here with a camera angle like this. Come on. It's really not that big of a deal. The camera also doesn't seem to affect the launch much if you're playing on BCPS3. You can also get bounced in the wrong direction, and I don't really know why this happens, but if Sly faces... I find that if Sly faces too much towards this black line, then this can be a problem. It happens pretty often for me if I do this. So that's why I say to aim over here instead, center left. I also think that's just way easier to get a good suck spot if you aim center left, since if Sly turns around or does anything weird, it's probably not going to work. And I think it's just a lot easier because you kind of just go straight when you're aiming here instead of trying to curve around in here, which can cause problems. Next, I'll show you how I do this trick. The first part is the same, but I'm not going to kill the walrus, and I'm going to bait his attack instead. So I find it that running a little bit away from the statue makes him throw faster, so like this way rather than this way. And I just double jump onto here. I ledge grab, see if I can get a good shot. So here's our octagon, right? This is the ledge that we ledge grabbed on in the easier variation, and this is the one that I ledge grab on in this version. So it's kind of just like straight across. And here I'm actually using the stick to jump to this side. You want to be really close to the edge here. So that's why this one is much harder, because you actually have to use the stick, and so you have to have some quick inputs to actually get the boost jump. I should note that there's normally a bottle here, so you want to not hit the bottle until you're pretty close to the edge. So try and go a little more around it instead of like directly through. If you ledge grab where I'm ledge grabbing, then you should be fine to just basically go in a straight line. It can be a problem sometimes because the Bentley dialogue will stop the game from going in slow motion when you unpause, which makes the boost jump very difficult. But the boost jump itself is more or less the same. I also don't take much time to set up my grounded position, since the momentum will slide you into the ridge anyway, unless you're really low down on the rock. So if you're like around here-ish, probably not good. Also, if you're too far left, like over here, probably also not too good. So around here is probably where you want to go. So I do this specific movement every time so that I don't end up too low. Here I try for a small optimization called an ASA slide. I'm not very consistent with it yet, but it's easy enough that I don't mind trying for it. So you just jump onto the roof here and kind of aim over here and jump with momentum. So you hold X, and then after that, once you kind of pass the roof a little bit, you want to double jump, and then the roof will kind of boost you forward. But I missed it, so yeah, I can't show it. But you also notice that I didn't super jump here, but it kind of doesn't matter because it's pretty hard to get a grounded position there. So if you miss the roof entirely though, you'll want to hold more left so slide doesn't land in the thorns. If you get any kind of boost at all though, you'll probably be fine, since some of these thorns are actually fake. Now here I'm aiming for a very specific spot on this rock. So right here basically is where I'm aiming. So I do this every time. I try and get as close as possible to the rock, and then I aim right there. I do this by pulling back on the stick for a brief moment. like back forward, like da-da. And I find this makes it easiest for me to jump into the stuck spot. It's still fairly difficult though, and I miss it somewhat often. When jumping into the stuck spot, I make sure to hold X for momentum. I intentionally keep this camera angle so that the camera doesn't get stuck on the lighthouse when I get launched back. See, I move the camera there. This is very important, although again, on BCPS3 it doesn't really seem to matter much. Also, sometimes you can get this farther launch, which is faster. Just swing the cane to cut Sly's momentum and get the key. If this happens, then that means Sly landed too perfectly in the stuck spot. I usually fix this by aiming to a little left of where I did here. So here I kind of landed over here. Normally you would want to aim like right here. But it all depends on how you're jumping into the stuck spot. So my specific visual cues might not work for you. Also, even if you're trying to go fast, the periscope setup can still be used to back up this trick as I show here. You should be careful, you want to be careful that you don't ledge grab this ledge up here. If you jump too far that way, you'll ledge grab there. I'm also flicking the right stick left a little there to clear the lighthouse, but again, I don't think it matters on BCPS3. Anyway, that's it. I hope this helped. Join the Sly Speedrunning Discord if you have any further questions. It's a very friendly place, and many people would be willing to help you out. Yeah, that's it. Bye!